Hey lovelies, this is Terri Wheat. I wanted to reach out to the people, especially I've had a lot of new customers lately, a lot of new orders, and I know Seint is such a different kind of makeup and a different system, a different process, and than anything we've ever done before. It's a much better way, but it's different. And I know when you first get your things, it can be a little intimidating. They come in these little metal tins and you'll be getting at least 4 colors usually. And so it can be a little overwhelming. So I put together this video to show you what to do with the tins when you get them, how you put them in your palette, and then how to use them to finish your face once you receive those and how that works. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to do your skin, how to do your compact, and everything that happens after you place your order. So thanks for watching. I've had a lot of new orders lately, a lot of new people starting with their Seint makeup. I'm a Seint artist, I should say. I love it. And when you get your tins, they all come in these cute little metal tins with the lids so that you can either keep it in your purse, like if you order a lip and cheek and want to keep that in your purse to just put on some fast lips, you can do that. But for your skin, you'll probably want to put it in a palette. And when you place your order, when you order 4 tins or more, then you get credit towards a palette. And all of our palettes are magnetic, and so all of the tins and pretty much all of our makeup, I think everything we carry, including even like powder and brow wax and perfumes, are all metal so that they will fit in here. Our skincare, of course, is in spray bottles and lotion jars. But so when you get these tins, you can put them in any order you want. Most of my clients, when they order their palettes, they order a size up, maybe a double-decker that has 2 layers or even bigger so that they have room to grow. But I'm just gonna use our smallest one, the little 4 palette, and show you how to do it. Now you can put these in whatever order you want. If you were color matched by me, or if you get color matched by me, I'm probably going to recommend 4 colors, maybe more if you have issues that really need color corrected. Maybe you have rosacea or something like that that needs another color to color correct, but a lot of the time it'll be 4 colors. And so you can put these in whatever order you want. You can go from lightest to darkest, and you can also do it in the order that you put them on. So I will go ahead and put these in the order that I'm going to be putting them on today. But I am going to start with my main highlight, and then my brightening highlight, and then my bronzer, and then my contour. And so we're gonna put these in the palette, and then I'm gonna show you how I put them on and how I use them. I have lots of other videos in different ways and different brushes, or even finger painting your skin, of highlighting and contouring your face, which we call hack, H-A-C. And but when you get your new palette, this is going to show you everything. So we're gonna start. Amber is my highlight, main highlight. So I'm just gonna snap that in, and then I'm gonna use Aura for my brightening highlight today. And it just clicks in, and if I wanted to take it out, I could just pop it out with my fingernails, or when all 4 colors are in here, I can use the lid and get in there and pop it out that way. But it's magnetic and perfect to where nothing falls out. It's not going to come undone unless you purposely want it to. And then we'll go ahead and put the bronzer, which is Bella. It's amazing. So, well, it would work lovely for everyone, but if you're extremely fair and you don't want any of that color, you may decide not to get it, but even my fair clients have. And if you have extremely dark skin, it may not show up as much, but other than that, it is lovely. And then I put in Astoria contour, but I know that some people will skip the Bella and scoot this over, and then they'll put like a lip and cheek color over here, and you could do that. You could also get a double decker so that you could have those main skin colors on the top, and then you could add your lip and cheek and eyeshadow colors down on the bottom. So these are totally customizable. It's your way, all of your favorites, all of the time. You can mix and match. You can have one for your purse, one for your gym bag, one for your desk drawer, and your big one at home. However you want to do it, they travel amazingly. There is no other makeup that is going to travel this compact, this perfectly neatly organized. So, okay, we have all of our colors in there. I have already done my eyes. Depending on the skin issues you have, then I will recommend a different brush for you. Most people order a brush, not everyone does, and that's totally fine. If you are more comfortable starting with your fingers or doing it like that forever, that is totally fine. Some people order the Perfector sponge because they feel like that's a little easier to kind of blend things in. But talking with you and figuring out what your skin needs are, like if you have a lot of texture, or if you need a heavier coverage, or if you want a really light coverage, or if you're in your 80s and need something barely there and really soft on your skin. There's so many different skin issues, and so that will depend on which one I recommend to you. All of the brushes, I am obsessed with brushes, and I have been for decades, way before Seint makeup ever existed. But I have large pores, I have fine lines at this point, and I have a number of issues, and I feel like they give the most airbrushed look. So I don't like touching my skin a lot because I don't want to cause any breakouts. I don't want to add oil or anything. And so these are perfect. These brushes I love. They truly are a really high quality. Also double-ended so that you get two for the price of one. So they're pretty nice. I'm gonna start by putting my highlight, my main highlight, and that's this amber for me. And I'm gonna use the big fluffy end. And I know a lot of women who start with their contour, and they lay the contour lines to kind of show you the map of where everything's going to go. And that is totally fine. Everyone's process is unique to what makes sense to them and is most comfortable with them. But I like to just give myself a base coverage. I don't put it everywhere because I already know in my head I'm going to be putting contour up here, I'm going to be putting contour along here, and I'm going to be putting contour along here. And so I don't need to have layer upon layer. I don't need to also put my main highlight in those areas. So I mainly target the middle of my face. I do a letter I, and sometimes I call it a pregnant letter I, because I do the center column like in a letter I down my face. I have a lot of redness and things around my nose, and so I like to get that column. I kind of feather it out a little bit so that it matches, and so there isn't a bare area between my cheek color and my main highlight. So that's why I call it a pregnant eye, because it gets a little swollen here along the middle. And then I do the bottom line of the eye. I do along the bottom of my cheeks. I don't have to go all the way to my jawline because I'll have contour there, but I do want to fill in that so it's not just randomly completely uncovered. I come across my chin. I have a lot of color in my chin, and then hit this side of my cheek, and then I come up between my brows, and then the top line of the eye, I come along here only about halfway up. Sometimes if my freckling is really showing and I want to cover it a little more, then I will go ahead and do a little light coverage all the way to the top. But a lot of times I'll only come about halfway up, and then I just kind of curve it around to my temples just a little bit. So the top column, the center column, and the bottom column. So a letter I. So hopefully that helps. Don't have to do it in that formation or in that order, but those are the areas that are typically covered. Some people like a really super duper heavy coverage, and if you do, you can put it everywhere, but you absolutely don't have to. This is made to be like a paint by number system, and so you don't have to have layers of makeup. Everything has a place where it can go, and you don't need to layer any of it. So I also kind of branch out a little just to hit beside my mouth too, so that that's covered, because I'll have the lip and cheek here, and then I have the main highlight here, and just to give this some coverage, I go ahead and feather it and just carry that foundation there. I usually just use the extra that is on my brush so that I'm not putting heavy coverage there, but it just kind of evens my skin tone. And this brush is fluffy and nice, and it just gives me a really nice smooth finish. And I just kind of wipe it or swipe it, and then sometimes I'll swirl just to kind of buff and polish to get that nice finish. And right now I'm working on just getting the coverage. If I feel like it looks too thick or too heavy, I just buff it out and I move it along to an area that doesn't look like it has enough or any coverage yet. And I'm covering this area right here, but I really wouldn't even have to do that with my main highlight if I didn't want, because I will also be putting some brightening highlight on there. But just to keep things easy in explaining the eye shape, I'm doing all of it. And later on, once you get the hang of it after a week or two and remember where everything's gonna go, if you want to quit putting it in that little upside down triangle and just put your main or your brightening highlight there, then that's fine too. Like I said, I just want to keep it easy, and the eye shape was a visual that I thought would help remind everyone and keep that easy. And I do have some redness between my brows. A lot of people do. I think you have a lot of blood flow there, and you can have birthmarks there. And so if you feel like you need the extra coverage of having both, then you're not doing anything wrong. That's totally fine. So when I see some spots that I want a little extra coverage on, I do that. I just use the extra on my brush to kind of brush up a little bit, even though I'm not giving coverage to those areas. And then I just go back and look. I can still see a little bit of pink on my chin. And so I'm just going back and putting just a little more. And then I'm swirling to just buff everything out so that everything is blended and nice and soft and just kind of a light coverage. And get the bottom of my nose. Okay. And if you see any edges that are not buffed enough where you can see a sharp line, just circle and buff over those to get rid of that line. Okay, and then we'll move on to the brightening highlight, which I am using today. Aura is what I put in there. I kind of switch around and jump depending on what I'm wearing and what my mood is and what season it is and skin tone I have. But I'm gonna turn this around, same brush, and use the small end because it's easier to get into little nooks and crannies. And so I'm going to start, and this is going to be mainly on the center points of your face, and it's mainly where the night light will naturally hit you, and it just kind of gives a nice little brightening accent to your face to give yourself more dimension, because the way we used to do it and the way many people still do it, and particularly if they haven't heard of Seint, is you take a bottle of goo of foundation and you put that flat color all over your face, and your face is all one color. It kind of flattens it out and gives more of a 2D look. And this helps to give dimension. It gives you a little bit of extra coverage if you feel like you need some extra in there, but it also helps to add to that dimension. So we're just adding a little bit of light. Sometimes I use a lighter one, and that's a little heavier. I don't want to see the makeup, so then I turn the brush around and flip it to the big fluffy side and buff that out. So I put it right there at the top. If you have really flawless skin and you do not have large pores, you may want to fan out a larger area above your brows and a little higher up. I keep it kind of tight because I don't want to put the highlight on any large pores or fine lines. And then if you noticed, I was coming and bringing it under my eyes. And I go ahead, I really like the look of not only hitting the eyes, but coming down along my nose and then meeting it up. And so it's like this wedge shape. And I like doing that. I feel like it's a really flattering look for everyone. It really brightens up your face, and I feel like it kind of gives you a little bit of an eye lift. And so I'm just tapping that on in that entire wedge shape area and making sure everything is blended. And then I already did it before I put on my eye makeup. I use my brightening highlight, this step. I use that for an eyeshadow primer. And so I put that on my eyelids and this entire eye area too. And normally I would be doing that at this step, but since I went ahead and finished my eyes so that you'd see the whole look, I just went ahead and did it already. But you will want to make sure to get that. And that goes, in my opinion, even if you are not wearing eyeshadow, to cover those veins and discolorations and brighten everything up and just make it a blank canvas is such a pretty look. And so I do it regardless of whether I'm going to wear eyeshadows or not. And so now I'm taking this brightening highlight down the bridge of my nose and a little at the end, and then we'll put it at my Cupid's bow to kind of make my upper lip look a little bigger, and then I'll put a little at the top of my chin. And then if you feel like anything needs blended or is looking too heavy, then just flip the brush around and even that out. And then we'll move to Bella Bronzer. I am in love with Bella Bronzer. Okay, so that is this one again, and I use my favorite brush for it is the blush and bronzer brush. I use the big fluffy end, and it just puts like such a natural stain. It melts in, it is the perfect color, and it looks like the most natural sun-kissed glow. And you can keep adding more, you can go darker if you want. The color, you know, people a lot of times feel like they look better with a tan. It evens out things, it covers discolorations, it just gives you a nice healthy glow. And so you can have a little bit of that glow all year round. You can add more in the summertime if you want it to look like you have a little bit of a tan when you don't. And it's just so pretty. And I'm just bringing that all along my hairline here. And this color, adding this darker color, and I don't know how well it comes off on camera in the lighting, but it just kind of rounds out your forehead a little bit, and adding that little bit of darker color gives your face dimension, it sculpts it, and it makes it look like it's three-dimensional, like it is. It just looks so pretty. And then I put a little bit on the tip of my nose and on the apples of my cheeks. And I feel like this brush in particular, and this motion of kind of circling it, just like if you were buffing and polishing a floor, it's the same type of motion with your makeup brush. And I feel like it just gives that shine, that healthy glow, and I feel like it makes your skin look younger And who does not want that? And then I'll put it on my chin and all along my jawline. If you have an issue with jowls or with your jawline sagging, this definitely helps to visually make it appear as if you have a more chiseled jawline. And then I just kind of blend that downward. Some people, if their neck is really, really pale, some people will bring it all the way down their neck, and some people who want a really tanned look on their chest will even bring it down into their chest. Our perfumes, by the way, are mixed in a base that has our Glow Illuminator, and it is a similar type color, but it's more of a shimmer, and it can kind of give a little bit of a sun-kissed glow too. Okay, so that is our bronzer, and then we're gonna move on to this last step, and that is contour. I'm using Astoria today. I'm using my favorite brush for contour, although several others will work well also. And I'm gonna start with the rounded domed end of the brush, and we are going to also add it to the hairline. And I always make sure that I blend it into my hairline a little bit so that you don't have a stark white scalp as soon as the hair starts. And get that all blended out. And then I'm not going to put it on the tip of my nose and on the apples of my cheeks like I did the bronzer. I am going to put it on the bottom of my chin and my jawline, just like I did the Bella bronzer. And we're just gonna further sculpt that jawline. And I accidentally got it a little heavy, so I'm gonna buff out the top, pull that down a little with this fluffy brush, and just make sure that that's all blended nicely. Okay, so the way you contour your cheeks is I turn it around, I use the cone end of the brush, and I put it on the bottom of my cheekbones. And some of these other brushes, like the detail brush, a lot of people use that one or this end for it to make a thinner contour line. You can absolutely do that. I switch depending on my mood, but a lot of times I'll just use this, and I try to keep them mostly uniform in thickness. Got the right side a little thicker today, so try not to push down too much to where it's gonna flatten out your brush and make it wider, but it's easy to fix. The beeswax creams will, you know, are easily very forgiving. So then I turn around the brush back to the domed end, and I kind of tap and buff at them. I'm tapping at them because I don't want to move it around. The contours are a drier formula than our highlights, and so they do a nice job of staying put because you don't want your shadow shifting and you don't want it to look like your cheeks are sagging. So they're already a drier formulation, but we want to keep that shadow right where we laid it. And so I just buff that out, especially on the edges. And if I got it a little too dark, which today I got it kind of dark, but it's okay. And you want to make sure it's blended nicely and smooth, and it's gonna look a little crazy until we add the lip and cheek color, but we'll do that here in a second. I'm also going to take, after doing my cheeks, this cone end, I'm also gonna add a little bit under my bottom of my bottom lip, and mainly in the center under that, to make it appear like I have a larger bottom lip. And then the last thing I'm going to do, this is optional, it can be intimidating So you can wait a while. You don't have to go into this right away, but it doesn't hurt to practice, and it really doesn't take very long to get the hang of, and that is the nose contour. And I know that seems like so extra and over the top at first, but it literally takes me less than a minute, like 30 seconds. And after doing it, so I tried it out, even though my nose is fairly thin and I like the shape of my nose, it's fine. And I didn't really think I needed it, but I just wanted to try it to see what it looks like. But then after doing it for a couple weeks, it seemed like when I would see my nose either in person if I hadn't done it or in pictures, it just seemed so much flatter and wider when I hadn't contoured it. So I love the look. I have compared pictures with no nose contour and with, and I really like it. Sometimes I get it a little heavy, and but it's trial and error. So I'm gonna use the multitasker brush, just the paddle brush end, and I use the side of it, and I'll still use that same contour color, Astoria for me. Your colors, and that's why you need to be color matched, they need to be matched to you and your skin tones. And by the way, summer is getting ready to come up, and if you a lot of times you'll need to have a shade darker to use in the summer, depending on how tan you may get, how much color you get to your skin. And so that's something to consider. Even if you were color matched in the winter and have your colors, it may be time to also add a darker option into your palette to use during those summer days. And so what I do when I'm contouring my nose is, some people make this super, super thin. I mostly just follow along the side of my nose and I draw a line down. Now I usually bring it all the way up to my brows. I just had my eyebrows microbladed not too long ago, and so I'm trying to not get makeup in those because they're still healing, they're still darkening and deepening and healing, and so I'm trying not to do that. But you would meet your brows, come down along on both sides and just meet it down in the middle. So I just come right along here, and then the little bit of extra that I have on my brush, I'm going to deepen under my bottom lip a little more. Okay, and then I'm going to take the 3D brush again. I'll soften that a little. And then I soften this. Now, a lot of people will also use a damp perfector sponge, and that will work too. It's just based on your preference, and I just kind of dab it. You don't want to erase it. You want it to look like a natural shadow that you don't even notice unless you're specifically looking for it and you're familiar with contour and you're wondering if they contoured their nose. Then you may be able to spot it. But other than that, you don't want it to stick out. So just keep dabbing till it looks good. Make sure that you pull back from the mirror and make sure that even in a little different lighting, it looks good. Because you don't want to get down in natural daylight or whatever and have it showing up. And I went ahead and, let's see. Oh, I haven't done the cheek color yet. Okay, so that is all on my skin colors. If you want, if you feel like you need a little powder, then you can go ahead and add it. We do have a powder tin that comes in the tin so that you can add it to your palette. My favorite way for doing that is to dampen this a little bit and then to press it into your skin. But full disclosure, I don't have the powder brush yet. There is a powder brush we have. I am definitely going to get it because I love all of the other ones so much. And so I haven't tried that, but I know that the perfector sponge for sure does work really well. So if you already have that, or you were thinking about getting it to blend your skin colors, then that's an option. I will say I used to have extremely oily skin my entire life, and I didn't know if the cream makeup was going to work for me because I thought it might bring out the oils in my skin. I thought it might be too moisturizing. And to my shock, honestly, because I didn't even think this was possible with makeup. So probably a couple months in after wearing the makeup, at first when I was putting it on, it's very, very common, and I did it too, I was putting it on a little too heavy because, you know, we're not used to working with creams. We're used to working with liquid or with powder foundation. And so I put it on a little too heavy, and it was a little sticky at first. I got that figured out, and you can also, by the way, blot that with your perfector sponge to fix that if you do get it too heavy. But after a couple months, my face was no longer, it was normalizing, and it was no longer making crazy amounts of oil. And so I, once in a while, if it's hot and humid, like today we're starting to get into summer, and once in a while I feel like, oh, I might get a little bit of shine, I'll go ahead and put a little powder. But you guys, most days I do not use powder, and that is incredible because all of my life I was reapplying powder like a dozen times a day and still looking like an oil slick all the time. And so for me to be able to go days without powder is incredible. And when I do put it on, if I feel like I may need it, I just put a little around my nose and a little right here, and boom, I'm done. And I don't have to reapply it. So I can't speak for everyone's skin. I know that is a common thing that happens. I know it happened with me, and I didn't think it was possible because I had more oily skin than anyone I knew. But I can tell you that is the honest to goodness thing that really did happen with my skin. And so if you have oily skin, don't count it out. So I'm gonna use Summer Love today because I've got pinks going on in my makeup and in my shirt, and I'm gonna do a video showcasing pink eyeshadows here soon. And just to let you know, I'm gonna do a video on swatches of all of our pink eyeshadows that we have. I used Sabrina covered in Tawanda here, a little bit of Mama at the top under my brow bone, and then the rest of this in the crease is Lullaby. So, and then I used Salem for my liner and a little bit of Kin and on my lower lash line. So if you wanna see those swatches, then check that out and I'll show you. I know it's hard because online looking, it doesn't show it on skin, and so it's sometimes I feel like not entirely true to life, and so I think it's really helpful to see it on skin. So let's go into Summer Love, and I think Summer Love, I'm gonna use our blush and bronzer brush, small end. I think Summer Love is such a nice color, and I feel like it is flattering on everyone I put it on. It's just a nice, soft, pretty pink, and it looks great as a cheek color. Now, when you put it on your lips, it is not going to show as much as it does on your cheeks because your lips already have color and they already have a similar-ish pink color. And so you're going to get a lot more of the pink and notice it in any color. But especially the pink that's similar to your lip color, you're gonna notice it more on your cheeks. But for my cheeks alone, I love it. And it is one of our glosses, and so you see it adds that little bit of glow, you know, to make it look like my skin is more youthful, and I love that. I'll go ahead and put it on my lips so that you can see what that looks like. I'm gonna start by putting it on with my fingers, which will just give me a light wash, and sometimes that's all I want. Sometimes I don't want to have to line my lips. I'm on the go. I don't want to contour them. I just want to grab something out of my purse and bump, put it on just like a gloss or a balm. And Summer Love is great for that. It gives you enough color. It evens out the blues and the kind of purples and discolorations in my lips, especially as I get older. It's just a really pretty, easy to wear, soft, pretty pink. Now, if you wanted to go darker, you could use that multitasker brush and pack it on a little heavier, but I think I'm good. I'm just gonna keep it with a light little look. So some of you order illuminators with your kit too, with your skin colors, and that's like the cherry on top. So if you ordered an illuminator, I do not have all of our illuminators, but here are some of our illuminators, and I'm going to go into Angel today, and it's one of our creams, and our creams are more subtle and easy to wear. Our powders, like these, are more of a disco ball blam. You can still wear them. I will still wear them all the time. I love to wear them on the center of my cheek to add to my lips, but they are more glam, and so it is going to show. And all I do is I put it at the top of my cheeks. Don't know how well that's showing. And I put a little, I usually use pearl for this little piece, but I put a little at the tip of my nose just to kind of add to that tipped up nose look. And then not always, but often I will put it in the center of my lips. I don't know how much Angel is going to show up today, since I guess it gives it some, because it's similar in color to Summer Love, but I like to put it in the center of my lips, and it just gives that little extra added bit of shine in the middle that makes it look like your lips are fuller and more juicy than they are. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you need to get your skin color matched, please reach out to me and I'd love to help you. I would need a makeup-free selfie in front of natural light window to see what your tones and undertones are to your skin, to figure out what your colors are. If you want any of the other yummy, luscious colors we have, like the eye colors or the lip and cheek colors, they're all beautiful. I can help you with all of them. We have a great skincare system. We have great brushes. We have lots and lots of great products. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I put out videos about every week, and that'll help you to be able to see those, and it helps me. Don't forget to add a comment if you like the video. Those are encouraging for me, and I really appreciate it. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.